good workout here. Looking forward to tomorrow. So we have another good day of work, and then take a break and get ready for training camp. But the work is not done, and looking forward to tomorrow. Any questions? I'm pretty appreciative of the players from the moment they got here until now, really taking coaching. We've been in teaching and learning phase for so long, and we're staying right there um, for one more day. And they've just been really attentive in the meeting room and taking what we're coaching them in there, taking them from the meeting room to the field. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's kind of part of the NFL, and it happens almost everywhere every year, and that's why it's so important when we add the players that we add to this team. We add guys that are pretty smart. So luckily, we have a really good group, and it is challenging, and I'm glad that it's challenged them. I'm glad that the guys that have been here walked into the building back then in April and even now and have to work at it. It's definitely not something that's going to come easy. So they have to spend some time at their craft, certainly.
How much stays the same, Kevin? How much actually has changed as far as the verbiage and concepts?
Well, I'd say the terminology has changed completely, and we talked maybe last time about terminology, and it's just a language, and everybody's running the same plays. It's just how you call it, and then really the big thing for me is what you emphasize and what your coaching points are, because that's where you'll see the differences between offenses. But in terms of terminology, it's completely different than it's been. But there's some similarities if you go back to previous versions of the West Coast system. There's going to be some similarities. So I think the terminology at times is overrated in terms of what you call it. It's what we're trying to emphasize in that meeting room and then out here on the field.
What differences do you maybe see from Stroke this year, the standpoint of just having a year under his belt in terms of that methodology?
I think he's doing a nice job. I think, again, having 1 year under his belt around his teammates is a big deal. And there's so much that goes into understanding the nuances of each one of your receivers and your tight ends and knowing how they come out of routes. And that was something that we definitely tried to speed up the process last year. There's only so much you can do that. So I think it's really helpful that he walks out in this practice field and has an inventory of knowledge of each one of his pass receivers in particular.
What's the difference between Chad Beebe last year and Chad Beebe this year?
He's 1 year older, I'd say. Chad's doing a nice job. I think last year he showed up at rookie minicamp and really didn't have a name for himself, right? It's just he was Don Beebe's son. But I think he's proven he's played in some games, and then you see him out here making a few plays. I think he's making a name for himself, and I think he's doing a nice job. And just got to keep continuing with one more day from him and put it all together. But I will give the kid credit. He comes out here and he works.
How would you summarize Garrett Bradbury, how he's looked this spring, and in terms of also taking charge as the leader on offense at the center position?
Yeah, it's interesting. Garrett being a rookie, he carries himself like a pro. And I don't think that's a mistake. That's just who he is, and that's how he's always been. So certainly, when you're playing that center position and you're directing traffic, it helps to have a personality like Garrett that, even though he's a rookie, has no problem making calls. That meeting room is different than most meeting rooms, and I think he fits in really well.
Kevin, you last handful of years you've been laser focused on one position, probably more so, and now you've got kind of a holistic approach to it. How is that different for you now, having to look at the full scope of the offense?
Yeah, it's certainly different. You have to take a peek at it from 20,000 feet as opposed to on the ground. But what I'm appreciative of is we have some really good position coaches here, and they're great teachers. And I love to walk around this practice field and just listen to them teach because I pick something up every time I'm out here. So I bounce around each one of these position groups as they're working an individual, and I can tell you we have an outstanding staff here that's really honing in with these players on the techniques that we're asking them to do.
Does it change your practice plans when you've got, say, like a number of tight ends maybe coming out of practice? Do you have to figure out what you're going to do a little bit differently for practice?
It does, and that prepares us for the game because every once in a while a tight end needs a shoelace and he's out for a series. So that's where it's so important to have versatile, smart players. Particularly, you talk about you go from tiger, 12 personnel, and you have a tight end that's down, you go to base, 21 personnel, and you have a fullback like C.J. Ham or Kari Blasingame, and they have to go in there and play that position. And that's the beauty of having smart, versatile football players.
How would you say the play action is looking so far?
I would say it's a definitely a work in progress. We at times it's good, at times it's bad, and really the best thing you can do is watch our defense. And if they believe it and the sell is legit, you'll get a reaction from our linebackers and our front seven. And so I think it's been okay. Certainly a ton of room for improvement, and it's going to be a constant point of emphasis for our entire offense because when you talk play action, it's very simple to just say it's the quarterback and the running back, but it's the offensive line, it's the tight ends, it's the wide receivers, it's everybody working in conjunction so that the pass looks like a run.
You mentioned play action. Rick Smith was saying last week he wanted to get Kirk Cousins to the next level, and one major thing he cited was getting more play action from Kirk Cousins. Do you agree that that's kind of one of the keys to getting to the next level?
I think play action is definitely an element of our system. Uh, Having said that, there's so many aspects of how we're going to attack the defense. I can't tell you that we would pigeonhole ourselves into just being a play action team. But certainly, Coach Zim has spoken about it before. When you're good at play actions, it's difficult on the defense. And kind of circling back to the question previously about the reaction from the defense, if we can get a legitimate reaction from the defense, we're doing a good job in play action. So it's a point of emphasis for us, but we're really working hard in a few other areas as well.